Charlotte, it's great to have you with me on the Life's Checkmark podcast. I'm excited to hear what you have going on in your life and how you got to where you are today. If you could just start off just sharing a little bit about yourself, what you're most excited about right now and what are you doing?
Most excited about a lot of things. Um, Getting on stages more. So that's really exciting, being on stages. And this is a stage as well. It's just in a podcast form or video, whichever. Digital platform.
All right.
That's the words. So, anyways, doing a lot of things with my product line and the services that kind of go with it. Um, I have a program that's pretty it speaks to a lot of people, and it's breaking the chains of the things of trauma, drama, death, the death of oneself, the paradigms of, like society's paradigms, and then the family paradigms. And it just kind of breaks it all down to be your authentic self, being the true you without all the limitations and talking in the mind of how you should be. So pretty intense, but it has a lot of positive testimonies out of it, I guess is the best way to say it, because it changes people's lives for the better that like they didn't realize they were stuck in the paradigm of things.
And so what led you to create this Breaking Chains?
When my whole life broke apart and I had to put it back together, but I was like, in healing, there's a lot of things that you don't recognize until you're solo completely. And I chose to go into solitude and find me in a sense, and in turn have helped others find themselves. And it's a mindset, it's an emotional state, and it shows up in physical things too. Um, it's just it was a lot of different other programs I had done that kind of led up to this one, of the totality of just, with just emotions alone for some people is very overwhelming. Um, Very overwhelming, like a death of a friend or a death of a family member. And we've all been through death in the last 3 4 years. It's been higher than normal. So, and that leaves a devastation and how to pick up the pieces. And it's loving yourself and accepting things, but accepting where you are in the journey, like through grief and like a loss of relationship or a loss of friendships or whatever it could be for whomever.
Mhm. What specifically touched you that you had to find yourself in solitude?
I had a breakup 4 years ago, and I thought we were going down the road to be together forever. And he walked out, chose somebody else. Okay, that's not the problem. But my sister's like, get out there. You can have any dude you want. No, I was married. He's passed. I was with somebody else. I just want to be with me for what I need. And is there any patterns that I need to break within myself so I'm not attracting the same kind of people? They were completely different, but I went inward to what do I want in one aspect, and I didn't want to be anybody's, like that so and so's girl, and then just kind of take on their identity in a sense to do everything they liked and loved and support them. That I'm like, what do I like and love? What does Charlotte want? I got married 1920, had babies out the gate, raised babies, and then that dissolved. And then I was in another relationship long term, and then that dissolved. And I'm like, I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm doing all these things, but there's something missing in all these things too, because not everybody loves like you do. And I say that in a broad sense because some people love 100% and some don't. So I just pulled myself out of everything And then I was in a car accident that really pulled me out of things. So within a month of the other. So I'm like, why is all this stuff showing up? I need to heal the parts of me and then help heal the others.
Yeah, so you felt like you were attracting the wrong people for how you were showing up?
I mean, my ex-husband, we were married for 18 years. We had 4 beautiful children. I mean, we all go through life and, being married, sometimes it's lots of money, sometimes it's not so money, but raising kids, we were all pretty much on the same page. However, he had picked up an addiction that took over him. Okay, I cannot live in that toxicity. And I eventually left. I went to school. Well, in 2003, he broke his neck and was paralyzed, the same as Superman. And we were on a rocky, but I was not the person to kick a man while he's down. He was paralyzed. He couldn't take care of himself. The neurosurgeon taught me a lot of how to regenerate nerves. And then within a couple years of him having a full recovery, I went to school to get the credentials. And then I started on being a massage therapist. And then as being a massage therapist, I also became like a counselor. Like you go to the bar and you talk to the bartender about all your problems. That's what I was for a lot of people through my massage. And then help them help their bodies physically. But as I was working with people, there was a lot of emotional things that were causing physical things. So then I dived deep into that to just understand the body as a whole, because our muscles hold memory of even trauma, of emotional or mental trauma. So me and my ex finally split, and we were on okay terms for the kids in some ways. But before he died, I mean, he was like, I messed up. You kind of figure it out after the fact. Um, the last relationship I had, we were doing life, we were doing good. And then he had a health issue. And I think it was his health issue that made him run away, kind of situation, to be faced with things. And maybe it was to protect me. I don't know. I don't know his reasoning. He never gave me one, and that's fine. But the memory of trauma in the body, and it could be the death of somebody, like a parent, or some things that have happened over the years with people getting sick. It happens. Um, I just I just want to help everybody in the totality, mental, emotional, and physical, because they all go together and you have to balance all of them to have something different.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And so, like, what would you say would be the first area that you would work on?
When I work with a client,
Yeah, or yourself, whatever you did.
it's usually emotional, because that's what nobody wants to talk about.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to cry, and tears are healing. Um, but facing all the emotions of whatever situation, a death of relationship, a death, a part of yourself. And I feel like in some ways I had a death of part of me because I was giving to so many others on all levels. And I was putting me on the back burner. And then when I went in solitude, I was putting me on the, you know, pulling back from everybody
Yeah.
to feed me. What did I need? And I fulfilled all those things within myself. Like, I was joking with a friend the other day, and I was like, I love myself so much. I don't even know if I want a man in this bubble, because I'm just loving me and it feels so good. And she's like, that's an awesome place to get. And I wish, she's like, I wish I could be there.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but you can. It's a journey. There's no lie in that. But when you love you, because the only person that you're going to be with forever is yourself. You can have a spouse, you can have a significant other. Sometimes they come, sometimes they go, and sometimes they go through death. And then you're still left with yourself. So when you love you to the totality of like, I love myself, but not like, oh, I'm just all this. No, when you truly love you for who you are, life changes and in a big way. And that's why breaking the chains is like the foundational program I do, because who told you this or that? Or, and then the other side of it is they try to communicate in their situations and they're not validated in any of them. And their feelings are just as real as the next. Their angers or whatever is causing the outburst, there's a reason behind it. And it's usually not being heard or validated with how they feel. And at this point, I love myself so much. It's not conceited, it's confidence. It's like, this is what true self love feels like. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And so do you would you say that you raised your standards in a way too? Because you're kind of like protecting your bubble, as you would call it.
Yeah, my standards are high, but I hold myself to a high standard as well.
Mhm.
Because no matter where I go or what I do, and doing the massage part and then doing like the healing parts, is like my clients, they confide in me. And I hold that very like, no, I mean, if I talk about clients, like I had a client that went through this, there's no names, there's no, if we do testimonies and they want to say what that happened for them, it's they're speaking their truth. They're speaking the testimony, not me. I hold myself to and I always have held myself to a high standard of integrity in my business and in life, um, regardless of who I've been with. And that's probably why things went sour, is because I hold integrity and a standard of like, no, you're not going to beat my face in and then I'm going to say it's okay. No, it's not okay. And I know, because I've dealt with a lot of women that have been abused, and somewhere in their mind, this is love. And no, it's not. That's not what love is. So it's reprogramming the mind to what to accept with other, with being with another person. And yeah, so the standards do get higher the more self love you have. And I've been seeing a trend like on TikTok and Facebook of when women are too masculine. No, it's not about masculinity or femininity. It's about they have to do everything on their own. So they're just like, then why be with somebody? Because it's just and I wouldn't say it's like a chain around them or anything. It's just like in a relationship, in any relationship, friendship, family, anything, there's give and take, period. And with my clients, I validate their feelings, where they're at. And sometimes they don't know what their feelings are. They're just very frustrated or angry. And I give words to their emotions and they're able to process them. And I
Yeah.
think that the biggest thing is sometimes people are so overwhelmed with the emotions, they just don't even have words. And when I give words to their pain, they're like, that's exactly what it is. And I was like, I know. And now you can process because you know what you're processing. Because a lot of different people I've come across is like, oh, you just got to heal it. Well, if you don't know what it is, then how can you do that?
Yeah, you have to work on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but a lot of people are never trained, because I have a new program I'm working on right now behind the scenes, and it's called How to Process Your Emotions. And that came from talking to a younger individual who has had a lot of friends die. And he's like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to cry. I mean, I cried, but I don't know how to do this. And I said, "Hey, did anybody taught you how to have your emotions or show them or process them or anything?" And he's like, no. So me and him are kind of working together to do this class, and this new thing I'm going to do. It's how to process your emotions.
Yeah.
Because me and him are going to work it on a private, but he's of the super younger generation. He's like 25. And if you look at a lot of 25-year-olds, they don't know how to process emotions.
You're absolutely right. It takes time, and it, kudos to him for stepping up and wanting to learn all that. And that's what needs to happen is some person just like that guy needs to start to make a change. And you and I, we went through experiences in life, and this is where we can give back, right? And share this. So you creating these courses and stuff and helping people emotionally, mentally, and then thereafter, it's a gateway to opening up how these people are handling themselves and the trauma, like you mentioned, that they've gone through. So what would you say that is like the worst thing that comes to you when people come looking for help?
The worst scenario that somebody's been
Yeah,
through.
yeah. Yeah, is there a common thread?
Common thread is the emotional distress, and it's caused by multiple things. Um, Women that have been beaten and trying to find a voice, trying to leave, kind of thing.
Hmm.
A lot of trauma is locked. Um, the other one is some of the older ones is the trauma from parents to tell them they're never good enough or their voice doesn't matter. And they're older, they're 30s, 40s, and some even older than that. The other side has been death. Um, I've had multiple clients, one particular that she was in therapy for 7 years because her husband was in a motorcycle accident and died.
Hmm.
And that left a hole in her. They were young. And she's like, yeah, I went on and got married and had kids but this just overhangs me. And we spent 2 different times. It was 2 weeks. One week we really worked on some things and spoke about it, and she had a little bit of homework, and then she, next week kind of thing, and told me. And then he now celebrates his death day and his birthday. And one of her testimonies was like 1 hour with Shar was more powerful and moving and taking care of the core problem than 7 years in therapy.
That's great.
And I'm like, wow, that's pretty profound. But I love people at their where they need it the most. And I'm able to basically feel their emotions, and they give me permission and all this, and it's etherical, but they're like, there's nobody like you, but there's such transformation in such a short time,
Mhm.
in such a very short time. And they're very kudos to it because what they've been looking for, the transformation from the pain to a peace, to be able to step into their power.
Yeah,
And a lot of people that have been through things are looking for the peace beyond the pain.
do you find that people have a hard time looking for help?
There's I mean, I used to go live all the time, like on Facebook and in different groups. And there was a few wallflowers that reached out to me privately. Like, didn't want to do it all on the live. That's kind of scary, but they would reach out to me privately and be like, I need your message. Because at one point I just put one of the YouTubes I had done, and I just put the one of them up within the series. And I got so many people calling me on the back end of like, that's deep, but I need that. And I need you. And they didn't comment on the post and they didn't, you know what I mean? But they all reached out on a behind the scenes thing.
Mhm.
So people will reach out, but they may not reach out publicly because they don't want people to necessarily going through. So as a business owner, if you're trying to do things and put your message out there, just because you're not getting the likes and the kudos on the social, but if you're getting it on the back end, it's still working people are still looking and watching.
They are, and I've experienced that a lot lately too. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're killing it." I'm like, nobody's saying nothing, but they're watching, right? Uh, so you just got to keep putting this stuff out there, and hopefully it connects and finds the right people that need to hear it and see it at the right time, and hopefully it helps that person, and who knows thereafter.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I had one client that I seen in person only for massage, and when I got to her house, because I hadn't heard from her a couple of years, she had a couple babies. She said, "I seen your post on Facebook with the childhood stuff, and oh my God, it spoke volumes to me." And I was like, "That was a year ago." And she's like, "I know, but it still touched me." So,
yeah, it's enough to make it stick. That was good.
mhm.
Yeah. Um, so a lot of people are coming because they have issues that they don't even realize is probably from when they were kids, correct? And it just carries on. So how do you deal with that? How do you go back like in time to help them say, this is where it came from. This is how it started. This is where it stemmed from.
Usually they conversate with me with through a few questions that I ask them. And then I'm like, well, okay, well, do you remember the first time? Or, just try to jog the memory a little bit. And then they're like, oh my God, that's where, like, through the conversation, they kind of figure out a lot of it on their own.
Mhm.
And that's what a true healer is like supposed to do is guide them in the journey to help them, but they discover who they are through it too. Because when they can look at a certain situation or a time frame or something where it's like that's where it all went crazy. Okay, let's go back to that spot and let's heal it, clear it, whatever words you want to use with it. But let's go back to there and love that person.
Yeah.
Because if you were young, and I always tell people what they don't know, they don't know. And you can't be mad at somebody for not knowing because they just don't know. And lately, a lot of conversations have been there's no common sense anymore. Like that was common sense. I mean, and I've had it with my own children, and they're like, "Mom, nobody's got common sense." Okay, not my fault.
Right.
My kids got it, but it's going back to the place where you feel like everything was devastating. Because I mean, I've done it for myself. Of like, I see a pattern of things happening, and I'm like, okay, let's go back and sit with this. Where did this pattern start? What is it? But I do that with myself even. So whatever I do with my clients, I do with myself. I'm not like above them. I'm just as human as they are. I'm just gifted in the way to be able to help them see.
Yeah, so you're just pretty much being the person like you just mentioned. You ask questions and whatnot, and they find out for themselves. But sometimes it takes that extra person to realize where the problem's actually coming from, instead of just circling things all over in your head. So asking the right questions would be a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Um,
Just loving them where they're at through it. Like that is the biggest thing is like people are not honored or they don't, their feelings are not valid from somebody exterior from them, not validated. So then it causes more, say, drama within because they're trying to speak what they feel for the ones that can speak what they feel and being told, no, that's not right. Well, everybody is a human being and everybody feels, thinks, and reacts differently because everybody's been through stuff, but it touches them all just a little differently. And that makes us individuals. And when you love on people in their individuality, it changes and grows them.
yeah, I want to go back to how you mentioned solitude, right? So you find yourself in this spot, a space spot, whatever you want to call it, like you're just like feeling really good about yourself. Right? And that stuff takes time. So, you have to work, you got to do your own thing, and do the things that you really love, and you don't have to worry about what other people are thinking. How does one get in? one of those places? I mean, you have this whole process of helping people and stuff, but I mean,
Right.
how do you just like separate yourself from the pack and just say, I'm just gonna be here. I'm just gonna do me.
Well, you have to intentionally at times withdraw from communities because at a certain time anymore, I do silence my phone. Like, this is sleep time for me. My phone's on silent. Whatever happens during the night, I'll find out in the morning. There has been breakthroughs of my phone going off from different individuals of massive situations, like 911's involved. So somehow my phone allows that to come through, like it's fine. Um, but the other side is when everybody's in the busy crazy, you have to kind of, even in like in my own vehicle, sometimes I just like, okay, I'm gonna take a minute before I go in here and deal with people. The other side is being alone with yourself and feeling comfortable within it. A lot of people have a problem being by themselves
Mm.
completely. The mind goes, the emotions go. They need something, someone, some outside source. I know, like with my sister, she was traveling with me at one point when I was doing shows, and I'm ready to go to bed. I want dark, silent, everything. And she's got the phone going, and I'm like, what are you listening to? She's like, it's just a meditation thing, or it's just this. But she has to have the constant. But she's like, will you go with me to the mall? Will you go with me here? She's very codependent. So you have to look within yourself. Are you codependent or are you independent? Because once you become independent within self, and it's a challenge, that's for sure. It wasn't for me because I like my downtime. I like my quiet time. A lot of my work, but even with massage, I'm with people. It's one on one. I've done childcare, a lot of kids, a lot of noise. At the end of the day, I just want the solitude of me and
Yeah,
quiet.
yeah.
And not all people can handle that.
You're right. You're right. It takes some, you have to be willing to do it and you have to be strong and just keep pushing through it. Even though people are probably going to think, well, why aren't you coming out to the party? Why aren't you going to the bar with us or something, right? You're reading a book, you're not doing all this other fun stuff. Or if you're building a business, that's another thing people look at. Um, it
Yeah,
does take, yeah,
even my kids got mad at me because I would schedule them in, and it's like, why do I have to be scheduled? I'm your kid. Well, because my life is very scheduled and I'm allowing this time for you with no phone, no person, no this, no that. This is your time with me. So either you're going to take it or you're going to complain about it. It's your choice. Because I am setting time because I used to, my daughter got off the bus at like 4 o'clock in the evening. So I would get all the tedious work done before 4 and then start cooking dinner with her. We'd sit at the table and eat dinner and that kind of thing. But when she went off to do her own thing, I went back to work doing my thing. More behind the scenes, but you have to, it sounds horrible, but you have to segregate your time into what you're doing and give full attention to what you're doing at the time. Because you can multitask, but you can actually really only do one thing.
that's true. That's true. We think we're doing two, three things at once, but we're really not.
You can
Yeah.
only do one thing at a time. So when you stay focused in the one thing that you're doing, you're going to get it done pretty quick. Because I was doing some things. I was like, okay, it's 3 o'clock. I got till 3 o'clock to do this, then to 4 o'clock to do this, and then I have it all segregated. And I was like, and I got to be back here at least 15 minutes in advance so
Mhm.
I don't look sweaty and to do the thing. And when I'm done here, I got another 100 things to do. But this is where you segregate your time and be fully present in it, whatever it is that you're doing.
Right. Charlotte, this has been awesome where we breaking the chains, that just ended with solitude here. And it's just been an amazing conversation of how you've been helping others get through their journey and how, you experience yours and that allows you to help others. How can somebody reach out and connect with you and learn more about what you have to offer?
I have a website. I also have an email. Um, The email is Total Healing Center, RE instead of ER.com at Google or at Gmail. I got too many things going on in the head at one time.
Yeah,
Put into Google.
that's all right.
Total Healing Center, RE at gmail.com is the fastest way to connect with me. Because that email is direct, it's on all my things. So I get a direct contact. The website, to just search around, look, see what products and services there are, is thcclc.com.
Cool. And I'll put
So,
that on the show notes and stuff too, so everybody can go in
okay.
there. So I have one question I ask every guest I have. What are three key things you've learned and used along your journey?
Three key things. One is it's okay to be you. It's okay to be alone. Because even in aloneness, it feels so good sometimes.
Eh,
Without all the busyness, it's like, oh,
yeah, just
zen.
shut it all out, right?
Zen.
Yeah.
And I think along my journey, um, never give up. Never give up. I
Yeah.
know for myself, I've been in two major car accidents. One took out my leg and lots of surgery. But I'm walking and stomping it, and you don't even know. That was a year and a half ago. I finally got surgery after a year and a half of being broken in the
Mm,
leg and then recovering from a head injury from a car accident 2 years ago, where I didn't even know where I was and no
wow.
use of my right hand to totally, fully running business again. And just, but in those dark moments, I prayed a lot and I'm going to get through this no matter what, because I've been the one person that I can depend on.
So you never thought about giving up, right?
No, give
Gotcha.
up's not in me. Some people do. And
Mm,
some of the things I've went through, because even my daughter said before the car accidents, Mom, you need to write a book because what you've been through, it would kill a lot of people. And I see how you hold people from what they've been through. And you just hold them. And they have such big miracles. Like my youngest daughter's seen my work. She's been with me.
that's
So
great. That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
never
So
give
yeah,
up.
it's all about just keep pushing through no matter what. Even if society tells you you can't do it, you're not good enough. If you have that vision, that mission, just keep moving forward. So,
Yeah, I tell everybody it's not a denial, it's just a delay.
right.
Some things had to play out along the way, even though we didn't know what it was when we got the vision, what we had to walk through.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. We don't know.
But when you're given a vision of something to do, you do it. And just because it doesn't happen in your time doesn't mean it's not happening. Some things we have to walk out and walk through to be able to get to the other side.
Mhm.
And part of it's removing people out of your life. Part of it's removing a negative thought out of you, processing emotions. It's different for everybody, but it's the same at the same time
That's
because you
right.
have to let go of the old to have something new.
That's right. Well said. Thank you. Charlotte, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on and sharing everything.
Absolutely. It's been fun.
Good.